What you're about to hear is a true story in every detail that happened exactly as it will be told.
In the events of the previous part of Nanou's story, Nanou carried out his daring plan and replaced millions of euros with counterfeit banknotes, leaving Riani in a big predicament. Daka's anger, the gang leader who knows no mercy, erupted, putting Riani and his family's lives in direct danger. When his daughter Rania was kidnapped, Riani found himself forced to face the most dangerous choices in the criminal world, and he had to travel to Spain where every moment carried a threat to his life and the lives of his loved ones. Time was passing quickly. The countdown had begun, and every step brought him closer to danger. Riani trembled when he heard the two names, Tara and Stoichkov. He knew them well, and despite his hesitation, he had no other choice. The danger threatened his wife and daughter, and the deadline set by Daka was short. In the end, he decided to proceed. He paid the Selika brothers for the information and promised them a huge reward if his plan succeeded. Riani returned to Morocco with his men, taking advantage of his good knowledge of the region and the secret smuggling routes. At that time, Stoichkov and his right-hand man, Tahara, had assigned a man named Alayachi to transport the shipment. Alayachi, a Bedouin man who had once known the mountain paths and markets from his trade in cattle, had eventually become a skilled smuggler. He had 4 cousins, whom he included after convincing Tara of their abilities. Together, they became part of a wide network extending between Morocco and Europe. On the appointed night, the Selika brothers called Riani to confirm that Alayachi and his men were moving with the shipment toward the coastal hideout where the speedboats were waiting. Riani and his men planned carefully, preparing a truck loaded with stones and 4-wheel drive cars. In the darkness of night, they lay in ambush along the road, waiting for the convoy. The smugglers had lit dim lights when transporting drugs so as not to attract attention, so the glow of their cars appeared in the distance like shadows moving slowly. As soon as they confirmed it was the hashish convoy, Riani's cars sped forward. They overtook the convoy and began throwing stones from the truck in front of it. The cars loaded with hashish crashed into the rocks one after another. One overturned, and the others stopped amid the chaos. Panic spread, and the smugglers scattered, but Alayachi and one driver could not escape. Alayachi tried to resist with all the strength of a Bedouin hardened by the harshness of life, but Riani's men beat him and the driver until they lost consciousness. Within minutes, the hashish was being loaded onto Riani's truck. He hid the loot in a safe place, then called Daka in a decisive tone. "I have 5 tons of hashish. Send 2 boats to transport it to Spain, and I will give you the shipment in exchange for the release of my wife and daughter." Daka did not like it much, but in the face of such a huge quantity, he eventually agreed, for it was Nanou, one of Tara's men, who had started this war when he gave them counterfeit money instead of the real cash. Riani also informed the Selika brothers that the operation had succeeded, and he remained in contact with them. But the matter did not pass peacefully. When Tara and Stoichkov learned that their shipment had been stolen, they began their own investigation. They soon discovered that Riani was behind the operation, that Daka was holding his daughter, and that Nanou was the one responsible for replacing the genuine money with counterfeit bills. For the first time, Stoichkov learned of the existence of a man named Nanou. He had only dealt with Tahara, but now it was clear that Nanou's betrayal was the root of the disaster. Tahara's anger flared, and he seized Nanou, threatening him. "Return immediately the genuine money you took and replaced with counterfeit bills. The sum was enormous, and I will not forgive you. After that, you will travel to Morocco and retrieve the stolen hashish, and if you come back empty-handed, I will kill you myself." Nanou returned to Morocco after many years, but he did not return as a tourist or an ordinary smuggler. Rather, as a man hunted by threats, carrying on his shoulders a nearly impossible mission: to recover the stolen hashish. Tara's angry words, shouting at him, still echoed in his ears. "Either you return the hashish, or I will kill you with my own hands." These words never left his mind, just as he had not forgotten Riani's old warning when he advised him, "You are playing with fire when you replace the real money with counterfeit bills." Now he realized Riani had been right, but it was too late. The only way out was to find the stolen shipment at any cost. On the other side, Stoichkov and Tahra began to suspect the Bedouin man Al-Ayachi. Perhaps he had colluded with Riani. They sent their cousins, those whom Al-Ayachi had introduced to Tahra years ago, to verify the matter and trace the threads. They arrived at his house in northern Morocco. There, when his wife opened the door with a welcoming smile, they found Al-Ayachi inside, nearly helpless, bearing the marks of brutal beating. His old injuries from Riani's gang were the clearest proof of his innocence. He was not a traitor, merely another victim in this war. As for Nanou, he began moving with complete secrecy. Yet he felt lost, not knowing where to start. In a moment of desperation, he remembered the Selika brothers. He called them, despite being convinced they might have previously leaked Tara's secrets to Riani. He knew he was asking help from vipers, but he had no other choice. In a pleading tone, he offered them money and told them his life depended on recovering the drugs. The Selika brothers saw in his pleas a golden opportunity. They decided to play their usual game, deceiving both sides. They contacted Riani, pretending to empathize. "We want to see Rania free just like you want, and we will stand with you whenever you need us." Naively, mixed with trust, Riani revealed what he should have kept secret: that Rania and his wife would be released tonight, and that the hashish smuggling operation would take place that very night. Without realizing it, he gave them the details they needed: the location of the operation, the timing, and the secret agreement with Dhaka. The plan seemed simple on the surface, but it was full of traps. Once Riani's men placed the hashish onto 2 secret speedboats sent by Dhaka from Spain, his wife and daughter would be released immediately. Then, the boats would cross the sea and reach a designated point near the city of Nerja, Spain, where Dhaka's men would be waiting to receive the shipment. But neither Riani, nor Nanou, nor even Dhaka realized that the Selika brothers had become the hidden players, and that the coming night could completely overturn the balance of the game. Nanou hurried to call Tahra, smiling with a sense of pride. For him, what he had done was a major achievement, one that could earn him some forgiveness from Tahra. Nanou said enthusiastically, "We will recover the hashish. We won't have to transport it ourselves, and we won't put our men at risk in the open sea. We won't pay any cost to transport it from Morocco. It will arrive in Spain tonight for free. Riani and Dhaka will smuggle it tonight from the Moroccan shores to the beach of Nerja." Nanou asked Tara to prepare a large number of men to seize the hashish from Dhaka's men as soon as it arrives. Nanou expected Tara to praise him, but he was shocked when Tara cut the call coldly, as if all his enthusiasm wasn't even worth a second of attention. Tara did not waste any time. He ordered a large number of his men to be secretly deployed to Nerja, precisely at the location where Dhaka's men would unload the tons of hashish. The area had rugged terrain, which made it easier to hide and observe the operation without being noticed. While Dhaka's men were hidden on the beach, waiting for the boats to arrive, Tara's gang members were concealed in the nearby hills among the trees, watching from a distance without Dhaka's men knowing they were there. The two inflatable boats, heavily loaded with tons of hashish, set off towards Spain, cutting through the darkness of the Mediterranean at full speed, accompanied only by the roar of the engines and the faint light fading behind them. When they reached the designated point near Nerja, Dhaka's men began unloading the heavy bundles quickly and cautiously. But suddenly, from the shadows of the hills, a large group of men stormed down like a hurricane. They rushed at them violently, beating them with brutal force. Some of Dhaka's men were seriously injured, while others retreated and fled after realizing there was no point in resisting. In just a few minutes, it was all over. Tara's men had seized the hashish and taken it to an unknown destination, leaving behind chaos and blood. Minutes later, Dhaka received a frantic call from his men. "We were attacked. A large group ambushed us. Some of us were injured. The hashish was stolen." Dhaka called Riani, shouting furiously, his voice exploding through the phone. "The hashish was stolen." Tara and his men took it. There is betrayal. Who told them the details of the operation? Riani trembled and fell silent for a moment. He felt dizzy, as if the ground was shaking beneath him. He trusted his men completely. It was impossible they had betrayed him. But the image of the Selika brothers struck his mind like a blade. He had been foolish to reveal the details of the operation to them. Breathing heavily, he answered Dhaka, "The Selika brothers. They are the ones who leaked the information to Tara." Dhaka roared savagely, "I want those two brothers. Bring them to me immediately, or I will take revenge on you personally." Once again, the spectre of vengeance loomed over Riani's head. Yet for the first time, he felt a measure of relief. His wife and daughter Rania were safe in the Netherlands. The next day, he hurried to join them, then fled with them to an unknown destination. But the events did not stop there. The following morning, Nanou was found lifeless in his car. The killers had staged the crime to look like an ordinary car accident, an attempt to mislead the Moroccan authorities. They almost succeeded, were it not for the arrival of his two brothers, who had migrated with him to Europe years earlier. They knew well that their brother Nanou was facing serious problems and had enemies both in Morocco and in Europe. For this reason, they insisted on opening an investigation. Upon reviewing the details, the truth emerged. It had not been an accident at all, but a carefully orchestrated murder. The Moroccan authorities did open an investigation, but they had not yet realized that the crime was connected to the criminal gangs. The Moroccan investigators began interrogating Nanou's brothers, who revealed shocking secrets. They told them that Nanou had been involved with dangerous gangs in Europe, and that recently he had faced increasing problems with several parties. They mentioned heavy names in the criminal world: Riani, Tahra, Stoichkov, and Dhaka. But they added that these were just nicknames for mafia men living in Europe, and no one knows their real identities. Reaching them or investigating them within Morocco was impossible. Then the brothers disclosed another shocking piece of information. Nanou also had enemies inside Morocco. They spoke about the four siblings known as the Sons of Al-Arabi. They harbored deep hatred for anyone connected to what happened to their brother Nouman, who had been kidnapped and brutally tortured by hired killers years ago. They believed there was a hidden hand that led the killers to him. but they did not know who was behind it. Therefore, the brothers told the investigators, "It is likely that sons of Al-Arabi thought Nanou was involved in some way and perhaps decided to take revenge." The Moroccan authorities knew sons of Al-Arabi well. Their notorious reputation preceded them. So, when the investigators wanted to interrogate them about Nanou's murder, the search for them began immediately. But the biggest surprise came when they discovered that all of them were in prison for another charge, and on the night Nanou was killed, they were behind bars. Their innocence in Nanou's murder was thus proven conclusively. And here the secret was revealed for the first time to everyone. Nanou himself had been the one who led the hired killers to Numan years ago. This had been a mystery that puzzled sons of Al-Arabi for years. They had searched for the hidden hand that delivered their brother, and never expected that Nanou himself was the traitor. Yet, despite the masks falling and some horrifying truths being uncovered, questions remained unanswered. The search for Nanou's killer continued, but the investigators could not find any new leads. The crime remained unresolved, adding another layer of mystery and blood to the dossier of gangs in Morocco and Europe. Stoichkov and Tara learned that the Selika brothers were the ones who leaked details of the hashish smuggling operation to Riani, and because of them, they almost lost 5 tons of drugs. They decided to take revenge. They sent 2 beautiful Colombian sisters, well-known fashion models who worked for the Stoichkov mafia, to Spain on a mission to track the brothers, using themselves as bait. Indeed, the sisters succeeded in finding them in a bar in Granada and began approaching them strategically. On the southern shore of the Mediterranean, the investigations had reached a dead end, although Moroccan authorities had found some hair samples in Nanou's car, which revived some hope for the investigation, as the hair would be compared with that of any suspect. The final part is approaching, and the truth is about to be revealed. Who killed Nanou, and why? Were European gangsters behind his end, or did the betrayal come from within, from those closest to him? The Colombian sisters advance with calculated steps toward the Selika brothers. Will their cunning trap succeed, or will the game turn against them at an unexpected moment? As for Tahra and Stoichkov, their anger has not subsided. What is the next step they will plan after all these betrayals? Will they finally manage to regain control, or have events completely slipped out of their hands? All the answers will be revealed in the final part of Nanou's story, where betrayals, revenge, and the unknown fate of every character in the criminal network stretching between Morocco and Europe will intersect.